Greetings, greetings, greetings. How are you? Hello, everyone. I am so excited to welcome you today to another episode of Ndumodu Show. I have to admit, I have not been very involved very recently because I've had my grandchildren over. And for those of you who are grandparents, you know how exciting that could be. So we have been just kind of putting our uh, schedules together, so that we can prepare for the summer. So haven't really been around to do anything with the Ndumodu show, but I'm excited to be back. I'm very excited to be back because now we've kind of gotten our schedules in order, mapped out all activities for the summer. So we're ready to delve back into the Ndumodu show. So welcome and thank you for joining me today. It is indeed a pleasure to have you here today. And we are going to have a wonderful, wonderful program today. But before we get started, I would like to pause for a moment and just remind you the importance of us taking the time to care about one another. Just to remind you that life is only as good as we are willing to enjoy it and allow others to enjoy it. And whatever we do, we must do it peacefully. And so just pause for a moment and I'll be right back. Well, welcome again, welcome again, welcome again. What a pleasure to have you back here on the Ndumodu show. Like I said earlier, this is going to be a very, very interesting one. And but before we go any further, I just want to remind you of what Ndumodu stands for. First of all, in Ndumodu, we explore the connections that bind us as a people of African descent, regardless of where we call home. Ndumodu is Igbo Nigerian word that means words of wisdom that I share with you to add to your repertoire. Before we continue, let me remind you again, please subscribe to my channel, Ndumodu TV, like and share. The Ndumodu today, usually what I do is I'll share a few words of wisdom before we delve into the program for the day. The Ndumodu for today comes from a Hausa proverb. You know, the Hausas, they're in the northern part of Nigeria. And this proverb reminds us that we must live within our sacred truth. It is no secret that for the most of us, so much time and energy is expended trying to prove to people what we're not, that we're not what they think we are. We want them to know that we're not the characters portrayed about us. So we want to be like them. We want to assimilate. We want to feel that we belong, and we want their opinion about us to change. We want to fit in. We want to show them that we from Africa, we've done so many great things. So we want them to see those great things. So we spend so much time trying to show who we are not, and we lose fact of who we really are. I tell you the truth, our role in this world is not to prove to anyone who we are, or rather who we are not, but to show through our actions who we truly are. It is up to us. And it's quite disturbing a lot of times when we try so hard to prove that we're not what people think about us. Our role in this world is just to be who we are. and appreciate who we are through all of us, wherever we find ourselves on the continent and diaspora. As long as you're a person of African descent, we need to appreciate our collective, who we are collectively. Our role is to show that we are okay with who we are. It is not what we tell that we are. It is who we show them that we are that teaches people who we are. When we deny ourselves, we show people we're not worthy of their time. It is perfectly okay for people to think what they will about us, because it doesn't really matter. What matters is what we think about ourselves, not just as individual entities, but as a collective. Today, I want us to dive into the vital topic, the importance of celebrating African American holidays in Africa. Why is that important? Why is that important? Let me tell you why that is important. It's no secret that many Africans on the continent tend to celebrate Eurocentric holidays, with a few exceptions, like in Nigeria, the New Yam Festival, or the New Harvest. Sometimes it's called the New Harvest Festival. While these celebrations are certainly important, I believe it's crucial for us to also honor and celebrate African American holidays. Why, you say? Some of you say we're not African Americans, but you are celebrating holidays that have no significance in your African heritage, means absolutely nothing. But monkey see, monkey do. We do whatever other people do. That goes for the whole world. People will celebrate whatever. And so we, as African people, would get caught up in all of those things that we celebrate. We are quick to celebrate, Valentine's Day, Sweetest Day, Easter, you celebrate it for religious reasons, but we add to it. We add the eggs and the rabbits and all of that, whatever comes with it. We celebrate that, and it's okay with us. Halloween, we celebrate that. We celebrate whatever. If everybody else is celebrating, why not us? So we join in. But some historical holidays that have very good meanings in the lives of African people, we don't celebrate it. The reason why I selected this topic today is because of a conversation I had with a friend of mine. I called her to wish her happy Juneteenth, and her response was, "Oh no, not another Black holiday. Black people are always having these holidays. They always have to have their own. I'm not interested in that, whatever that is." This is what she said to me. This is what she said to me. But the topic today is very important because we, as people from the continent, are continental Africans. We need to change our mind. We need to change our attitudes. Why is it important to celebrate? Why is celebration of African American holidays important? Let's reflect on our shared history, first of all. The civil rights movement, championed by African Americans, laid the groundwork for many of us to come to this country and thrive. That's just the truth. Many of us are here because of the effort, because of the work that the African Americans did. The civil rights movement is the reason why you and I get on that plane and fly to the United States and become doctors and engineers and lawyers and whatever it is we want to do. It's because of the hard work of the African Americans. There's an African proverb that says, "Ugubun kwaita kwaita." If you want honor and respect, you've got to give honor and respect back. Many of us, unfortunately, and this is the truth. I'm a ruffle some feathers today, but that's okay. Some of our parents would caution us when we're coming. My parents didn't do that, thank God. Some parents will caution their children. You were going to America. You've got to be very careful. People, you know how they are. They're lazy. They're this and that. Stay with the white people. You guys know I'm telling the truth. So a lot of us come and we thrive so hard to move away from the African American community. It's insulting. It shows a lack of gratitude. And if you're that kind of person, just like this friend of mine thought it was a waste of time to wish her happy Juneteenth. My daughters called me and wished me happy Juneteenth, because it's important that they know the successes they're experiencing today. People sweated and died for it, and it's the African Americans. So celebrating their holidays is giving thanks and honor. If it weren't for the struggles and sacrifices, many of us wouldn't have the opportunities we do today. It's essential to acknowledge that our successes are intertwined with their fight for freedom and equality. So if they are celebrating Black History Month, as an African, celebrate Black History Month, because us in Africa ourselves, we need to be celebrating that. We need to be teaching our children what Africans have contributed, instead of teaching them about Mungo Park and all those other characters that really have nothing to do with their Africanness. When they celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, we celebrate because he fought for civil rights that you and I are enjoying. Yes, we didn't all come here enslaved. Some of us came on fancy airlines, first class and whatever. But the point of the matter is that they are African Americans who put their neck out. Everybody, many of the people of color enjoying what they're enjoying here in the United States. If you're coming to the United States, you need to know that. Your children need to know that. If you see an elderly African man or woman, open the door and say, thank you. They don't have to know why you're saying thank you. Just say it because you have to, because it's the right thing to do. Juneteenth. Oh, happy Juneteenth, by the way. Of course, it was the 19th, and today is the 21st, but that's okay. It's never too late. Or my show falls on Saturday. It didn't fall on the 19th. So I'm just going to wish you all happy Juneteenth. So what is Juneteenth? What is Juneteenth? You know, it is important to know what that, what Juneteenth represents. Okay. And I'll get to that in a minute. Okay. It's essential, I believe, that Africans everywhere acknowledge the contributions that have been made by other Africans. And if we're going to celebrate all these holidays that we tend to celebrate what they celebrate as well. When we downplay African American holidays, viewing them as just for African Americans or just another holiday, we miss a significant part of our narrative as African people. It's a form of ignorance that can lead to a lack of gratitude for sacrifices made by those who came before us. When we talk about those who came before us, they came before us. Our ancestors are the same ancestors as theirs. Every time we step onto the plane to America, we carry with us the legacy of those who fought for our rights. So when my friend said, oh, it's just another holiday, it's not just another holiday. Many of us carry misconceptions as Africans about African Americans, and as they do us. Many of them have misconceptions about us as well, which is unfortunate. Often we hear warnings to be cautious of the African Americans, or be cautious of the Africans. When I remember when I was in at the University of North Alabama, I was called all kinds of names. All kinds of names based on ignorance, people who never went to Africa or know who Africans are. We have the responsibility to reject all the stereotypes. We cannot embrace negative views only that undermines our humanity or undermines the humanity of the African Americans. We must stand together, recognizing that their history is also our history. Also our history. Now, as I spoke of Juneteenth earlier. What is Juneteenth? Some view it simply as another African American holiday. Why are you guys always celebrating? You're always celebrating this, you're always celebrating that. You know, Black History Month, that should not be plenty enough. And you guys want to celebrate Dr. King's Day and blah, 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 blah. Well, there's a reason why those holidays need to be celebrated, because they're very meaningful. What they mean is extremely significant. When we ignore them, we fail to grasp the profound significance of these holidays. Juneteenth celebrates the emancipation of enslaved people in the United States, which is a universal struggle for all of us, for freedom that resonates with all of us. You as a continental African, you know that we struggled with colonization, and it's still going on right now, quite frankly, hasn't gone away. So when they are celebrating Juneteenth, you need to know what it's about, because whether you like it or not, it does involve you too, because it's part of the freedom. It's freedom from enslavement. And that freedom, when it was gotten, it gave us an opportunity to achieve, to strive, to go beyond our humanness, to become unlimited in our capacity. People died for that. African Americans died for that. It's a universal struggle. Universal struggle for freedom. The freedom that they're celebrating, you can't ignore it. You see, what happens in life, anything that you try to brush under the rug is going to surface again. It's going to be repeated. So it's an imperative. It's an imperative that we celebrate Juneteenth as well. Pardon me, please. Let me take a moment. I'll be right back. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just having the coughing fest here. But the bottom line, however, is that I feel very strongly that we have a responsibility as people of African descent to celebrate that which makes us who we are. And what makes us who we are is not just what we have in Africa. What makes us who we have is what they have here. Because I'm telling you, every day I give thanks. You know, doesn't minimize who I am. I just give thanks to those who made it possible for me to be here, for me to enjoy what I'm enjoying today. We need to honor Juneteenth as part of our collective celebration of liberation and justice. Liberation and justice. There's no African who doesn't understand liberation and justice, what that means. Life is nothing if you're not liberated. Without liberation, there's no joy in living. You need to be free to go as you please. And when that's constrained, people fight and demand that it is so. And so for some of us who come here, we need to do the right thing. We can't talk about injustices faced by our people while allowing misconceptions to drive a wedge between us. There's no them and us. It's all of us. Because if you're walking down the street today, nobody cares if you're from Ghana or from the UK or whatever, wherever you, as long as you're an African person, we're seen, we're looked upon the same way. And if that's the case, then it becomes our responsibility to embrace each other. There's an Igbo proverb that says, when somebody rejects you, you don't reject yourself. The only way you can rise from rejection is to embrace yourself. Be who you are. Misconceptions drive wedges. And we need to do all that we can. If you don't know, read. Thank you, God, for the internet. There's nothing that you're looking for that you can't find on the internet. It's all there for you. It's our responsibility to reject anything that diminishes our shared humanity. If you are an African and you're seeing an African American being undermined or being spoken in a very bad way, it's your responsibility to speak up against it. And vice versa. Because we are surviving as a people. Our world is a Serengeti. Survival of the fittest. And we can't survive broken up diminished, a wedge put between us because of misconceptions about each other. We can't do that. It's our responsibility to reject anything that diminishes our shared humanity. Celebrating African American holidays is not just an acknowledgement of our experience or their experience, it's a recognition of our ancestral struggles that connect us all. It is a celebration. It's an acknowledgement of the African American experience. It's a recognition of our ancestral struggles that connect us all. When all is said and done, we are all brothers and sisters. I don't care if you're on the continent. I don't care if you live here. As long as you are an African person, our struggles are the same thing. Same problem, different locations. That's all. You know, I have friends, when you say Happy Kwanzaa, it's like, well, what is that about? Kwanzaa? If you as an African person does not understand what Kwanzaa is, maybe you should read it up, because it's got all the principles necessary for nation formation and building. It's all there. You just have to be in the know. You just have to understand. I mean, how wrong can you go to celebrate something that preaches unity? We have to be unified as a people to move forward. You can't be in front and the other person is in the back throwing stones at you. We have to walk together. We have to climb the mountaintop together. And that's just the way things are. That's just the reality of unity. And that's the first principle of Kwanzaa. And many of us don't want to celebrate Kwanzaa because, oh, it's just that black holiday. Well, do you know what it stands for? Have you studied it? Have you made any effort to figure out what it means? Can you go wrong with self-determination? That's what I'm saying, that some of these holidays, they're so rich. What they're talking about is very, very important for us as a people. Self-determination. We should be open to that for all us, for not just as personal selves, but for our collective, for all African people. We should do whatever it is, whatever it takes to see ourselves, every one of us, moving forward, achieving what they have the capacity to achieve. How do you go wrong with that? How do you go wrong with collective responsibility? When you see a child who's suffering, when you see a woman or a man who's suffering, it is our collective responsibility to see what we can do. We may not be able to solve all the problems, but we certainly can lend a hand in some manner or form to make things a little bit better. How do you go wrong with that principle? That's the third principle of Kwanzaa. How do you go wrong with the concept of cooperative economics? If I buy from you and you buy from me, we go get rich together. Supporting each other is part of what Kwanzaa is talking about. How can you go wrong with that? Why would you not celebrate such a thing? What about the fifth principle of Kwanzaa that talks about purpose? Many of us walk around here thinking all we have to do is inhale and exhale and just move about. But that's not what we're about. That's not the only thing we should know about. We should ask ourselves, each one of us, why are we here? What is the purpose of our lives? Why were we put on this earth? What do we do? What is your purpose? Do you have a purpose? When you get up in the morning, do you ask yourself, why am I here? What can I do? My father told me you don't have the right to die until you've made a difference. Never live anywhere unknown. That's my purpose, to make a difference. What is yours? How can you go wrong with such a holiday? How can you go wrong when you have a principle that talks about creativity, using your creativity to make the world a better place than you found it? How do you go wrong with that? So when you don't know why they celebrate Kwanzaa, it's nation formation and nation building. Those are the principles necessary to make things, to build up communities, to build up a nation. How can you go wrong with that? How can you go wrong with having faith in each other, in your leaders, when we find good leaders, of course. How do you go wrong with that? How do you go wrong with having faith in each other? Celebrate whatever holidays you want to celebrate. Because a lot of those foreign holidays, they're brought to us in Africa. I don't see why some of these very important African American holidays cannot spread around the world because of what is in it. Because of what's in it. What's in it is remarkable. I love Kwanzaa. I celebrate Kwanzaa because I celebrate the principles. And I realize how important those principles are for nation formation, for nation building. And I've taught my children that. So if you're going to celebrate holidays, I mean, there are all kinds of holidays you can celebrate. But some African holidays, African American holidays, are just absolutely divine. And you can add it to what you're celebrating. Nobody says you can't celebrate what you're celebrating, the foreign, or holidays that you celebrate. There's nothing that says you can't do that. By all means, do it. But just remember one thing. Just remember one thing. It is said that if people reject you, you don't reject yourself. And the way you show that you don't reject yourself is to embrace that which is yours. You're more powerful as a collective than as an individual. And we will look at some of the, and I mean, I'm sure there are other, besides the African American holidays, I'm sure there are other diasporan holidays that we can look into and see how we can celebrate those. I mean, you certainly can pick and choose what you want to celebrate. Nobody's saying that you're obligated, but just look at what you're celebrating in comparison to what is available in the African American community, because many of us come here, and a lot of what we're able to do stems from the sacrifices made by the African Americans. So I'm encouraging all of you to embrace these holidays. Okay, maybe not all of them. Pick and choose, but incorporate at least one. Incorporate either Kwanzaa, Black History Month. But the bottom line, however, is if you're in this country and you see that the African Americans celebrating these holidays, as an African, you should celebrate them too. You're celebrating everything else. You might as well. We must integrate some of them, if not all of them, into our own celebrations, whether in Africa or in the diaspora. I took Kwanzaa home. When I went to Nigeria, I was in a hotel, and I started, letting people know what Kwanzaa stands for, and that should they incorporate it in their celebration as well. And of course, I've got to tell you, they were quite mesmerized what the concepts of Kwanzaa is. And for you, what is the concept of Dr. King's Day? What is Black History Month? What are all those? If you're in Africa, celebrate Black History Month, incorporate Black History Month, but also celebrate your own history in Africa, because a lot of our children are not being taught that in Africa. I took some African Americans home, and we had a gathering for Nigerian young people. And we were talking about telling them all the discoveries made by African Americans. They were just, it was unbelievable. They couldn't believe that a lot of the things that they're celebrating today, they're using today, was actually developed and designed by African Americans. And it gave them a sense of pride. Give your children a sense of pride. Let them be a part of the celebration of these meaningful holidays. Our ancestors are a part of the African American experience, and honoring that connection strengthens our unity. The Ndumodu show is no longer going to be a 1-hour presentation. It's going to be half an hour, because I want whatever I have to say, get to it and share those information with you, and hopefully maintain your attention until we get to the next show. So for those of you who joined me today, I would just join me today. Then what you could do, obviously, is you could share the program and like it, and so that we can increase our numbers. Again, I want to thank you. Thank you so very much for joining me today, and I look forward to next session. Here's the exciting thing is that we're going to have um, a lot of different kinds of speakers next time. It's going to be really, really nice. I'm going to really have a lot of good people in the community for you to meet, people in the community doing exceptional things, and hopefully you can connect, and somehow, it's important that we connect with some of these speakers that I'll bring forth, because a lot of them are doing some significant things that you can benefit from. So I look forward to next Saturday. Is going to be a very important one. I'm going to be interviewing a physician from a PhD in health in Nigeria, and what they're talking about vaccines, its impact in the Nigerian community and worldwide. So let's just talk about it. Let's hear what she has to say about vaccines and all of that. So anyway, thank you so very much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. You take care, and so it is.